Hello, my name is Paula Mardones. I'm an English teacher, and today we're going to talk about English for the police, different terms, vocabulary about uniforms, equipment, etc. Let's start. The first vocabulary would be about uniform, the police uniform. This is a jacket or combat jacket. You can also find it under that name. These are the police pants. These are shoes. This is the hat or the beret. This is where you can put different gears. And this is the belt. This is the tie. This is a long sleeve shirt. And this one is the opposite, the short sleeve shirt. What about the equipment? We have a gun or a firearm. All kinds of guns, you can call that like that, or you can say firearms. This is the night shift or baton. These are the handcuffs. This is the pepper spray. This is the taser gun. This is a badge. This is the whistle. This is the radio. This is the bulletproof vest. These are the bullets. This is a flashlight. This is a holster. And these are patches. Here we have vocabulary about things that police people use every day. We have the verb arrest, is to take into police control. We have assailant, is a person who assaults or attacks. At large or on the loose means not caught, running free. Armed and dangerous is a person that carries a weapon with a violent attitude. Backup, police that are called in to support or help. Bail is a large amount of money that someone pays as a promise to appear in court. To book, a verb, is to register someone as a criminal. Break into is to enter a residence, a car, or a business illegally. A burglar or thief, a person who breaks into a home or business and steals. Cell is an individual room in a jail or prison. A convict is a person who is doing jail time. Cop or copper is a police officer. This is a slang word. That means a very informal word. Criminal record, a file that lists all of the crimes a person has committed. The crime scene, the place where a crime happened. The cruiser or the squad car is the police car. In custody, under police control. DUI or DWI is driving after drinking too much alcohol. This is an acronym. DUI is driving under the influence, and DWI is driving while intoxicated. A detective is a police officer responsible for solving crime. A domestic dispute, an argument, trouble at home. To escape is to get away from a holding place. Felony, a major crime, for example, a murder. Fine is the money that a person pays for breaking a law. Fingerprints, marks left by fingers that identify a person. Firearms, weapons that shoot. Gang is a group of people often associated with crime and drugs. Guilty is to be responsible for a crime deserving of punishment. Innocent, not responsible for a crime. Intruder, a person who enters a home illegally. Jails or prisons, a place where criminals are confined. Misdemeanor, a minor crime. Punishment is usually a fine or less than 1 year in jail. Noise complaint, a call to the police to complain of disturbing noise. A partner is another police officer that a policeman drives and works with. Patrol or on patrol, serve and protect an area. Perpetrator, a person who committed the crime. Pickpocket, a thief who steals from people's pockets in transit or in crowds. To pursuit, the act of searching for. Radar, a radio wave transmission that helps police track cars and map crime scenes. Robbery, a theft, taking something that doesn't belong to you, often with force. Speed ticket, a fine given to a driver who gets caught driving beyond the speed limit. To steal, to take something that doesn't belong to you. Street crime, crimes such as drugs and prostitution. Wanted, being searched for by the police. Witness, to see something. Is to witness is the action, but you also become a witness if you see crime or something happening. Young offender or juvenile delinquent, a minor who commits a crime under age of 18. Let's see the types of crime that we have. We have different ones, right? For example, abduction or kidnapping is to taking a person to a secret location using force. Armed robbery, using a weapon to steal. Arson, setting fire to a place on purpose. Assault, hurting another person physically. Attempted murder, trying to kill someone but failing. Burglary, breaking and entering, both, this definition works for both terms, is going into another person's home or business with force. Child abuse, injuring a child on purpose. Domestic violence, physical assault that occurs within the home. Driving trafficking, trading illegal drugs. Driving after drinking too much alcohol. Fraud, lying or cheating for business or monetary purpose. Hijacking, holding people in transit hostage, usually on a plane. Murder or homicide, taking someone's life through violence. Shoplifting, stealing merchandise from a store. Smuggling, bringing products into a country secretly and illegally. Terrorism, acts of crime against a group, political or religious, or another country. Theft, it's to steal. Torture, extremely cruel and unfair treatment, often toward prisoners. Vandalism, damaging public or private property. In white-collar crime, breaking the law in business. What about the types of punishments the police can act? We have the traffic ticket or speeding or parking, right? That leaves marks on driving records, involves paying a fine. License suspension, driving rights are removed for minor crime. Fine, pay money as punishment for minor crime. House arrest, remain in one's home for a certain period of time. Community service, do volunteer work such as teaching children about crime or cleaning up garbage on the streets. Jail time, spend a certain number of months or years locked away from society. Life in prison, spend the rest of one's life in prison with no chance of going back into society. What are the actions that the police does? First of all, they arrest, right? This is the power to take in individuals who are suspected of committing a crime. After that, the detention happens. The police may apprehend the individual, holding them in custody until they are brought before a court. Then we have the process of investigation, where the police looks into the crime, gathering evidence and identifying suspects. And then we have charging. If the police believes there's enough evidence, they will blame the suspect for a crime. Police also use different communication terms, especially on the radio, right? So here are the most common communication terms. To dispatch, the centralized place where calls are received and sent out to officers. A radio code, numeric or alphabetic code, communicated over the radio for confidentiality. APB, All Points Bulletin, a broadcast from one police station to all others in its network about a wanted person. Undercover, working in disguise or in secret. Stakeout, the surveillance of a location or person to gather evidence. BOLO, be on the lookout, an alert to be watchful for a specific person or vehicle. 10-4, radio code for acknowledgement or understood. Code blue typically refers to an emergency or threat. Wiretap, the interception of communication, usually phone calls for surveillance. An informant, a person who provides information to law enforcement about criminal activity. The police also has different ranks, right? The first one is a rookie, which can be an inexperienced officer or recruit. Then we have the detective, an officer responsible for investigating crimes. Then we have the sergeant, an officer ranking above patrolman but below a lieutenant. A lieutenant is a person above the sergeant, often in charge of a police precinct or department sections. Finally, the chief of police is the top-ranking officer in a police department. What are the internal departments in a police department? Let's start with the patrol. The patrol is the backbone of a police department, responsible for responding to calls, patrolling assigned areas, and maintaining order. These can include various roles like neighborhood policing, response policing, and traffic enforcement. Then we have the investigation department. The department handles investigations of crimes, including detectives, crime scenes, investigators, and other specialized units. They collect evidence, interview witnesses, and prepare cases for prosecution. We have some specialized units. These units focus on specific types of law enforcement. For example, traffic enforcement handles traffic violations, accidents, and traffic control. Special operations responds to high-risk situations, such as hostage situations or active shooter events. And then we have the Marine Patrol, patrols waterways and enforce laws on boats and ships. Another department is the community policing. This department focuses on building relationships between the police and the community, often through programs like neighborhood policing, community liaison officers. Intelligence. This department collects and analyzes intelligence information to help prevent and investigate crimes and may include roles such as surveillance analysts or covert operatives. Operational support. This department handles tasks that support the day-to-day operations of the police department, such as control centers, custody officers, or specialized roles like dog handlers. In other departments, many police departments also have departments focused on administration, accreditation, professional standards, crime prevention, and public safety. Let's have a look at some more crimes a little bit deeper. We have kidnapping. Kidnapping is when someone takes another person without their permission and keeps it in a place against their will. This is a very serious crime. People who do this often use force or threaten harm to make the person to go with them. There are many reasons why people might do this. Sometimes these people want money and they ask for a ransom, which is money paid to get the person back. At other times, people are taken because of personal reasons or to be sold or used for illegal work. It is dangerous It can cause harm to the person who is taken. It is also scary for the family and friends of the person who is taken. Many countries have strong laws to punish these abductors. They can go to jail for many years if they are caught. The other one is the attempted murder. This crime is when someone tries to kill another person but fails. It is a very serious crime. The person who tries to kill someone can be arrested and sent to jail. In a case like this, the person may use a weapon like a knife or gun to hurt or threaten to kill the victim. Sometimes the victim may escape or get help before the crime happens. If someone tries to kill another person but the victim survives, it is still a crime, and the person who did it can face punishment. It is different from other crimes, like assault, for example, because the person tries to kill the victim, not just hurt them. The law considers this is a very dangerous act, and people who are found guilty of this crime can spend many years in prison. Drug trafficking. It is the illegal selling and transportation of drugs. People who are involved in this crime try to make money by selling illegal drugs such as cocaine, heroin, and marijuana to others. It is a serious crime. It is illegal in most countries, and the people who are caught doing it can be arrested and sent to prison. The performers of this crime often work in groups to transport drugs from one place to another, sometimes across countries or even continents. They use many ways to hide the drugs, like in cars, trucks, or on boats and airplanes as well. Hijacking. It is when someone takes control of a plane, bus, or other vehicle by force. The person who does takes over the vehicle, usually uses weapons or threats to make the people inside follow their orders. Most of these crimes happen on airplanes. In this case, the performers may demand things like money, the release of a prisoner, or safe passage to another country. The person who does this action may threaten to harm passengers if their demands are not met. In some cases, the police or military must step into to stop the situation. The theft. It is when a person takes something that does not belong to them. People who do this are called thieves. They may take money, a phone, a car, or anything valuable without asking for or paying it for it. It can happen anywhere. It can happen in a store, at school, in someone's home, or on the street. Some people steal because they want money, others for fun, or because they think they won't get caught. Sometimes some types of thefts, sorry, are shoplifting, pickpocketing, and burglary. Fraud. It is when a person tricks someone to get money or something valuable. People who commit this crime lie or hide the truth to take something that does not belong to them. There are many kinds. For example, A, someone might pretend to be another person to get money. B, a company might lie about a product to sell it. And C, a person might send fake emails to steal bank information. White collar crime. It is a type of crime that usually happens in offices or businesses. It is called this because people who work in offices often wear white shirts. These crimes do not use violence but still cause a lot of harm. It often involves lying or cheating to get money. Some examples are, for example, fraud, tricking people to steal their money, embezzlement, secretly taking money from a company, bribery, giving money to someone to get special favors. Identity theft is to stealing someone's personal information to use their money. People who commit this crime are often workers, managers, or business owners. They use their jobs to break the law and make illegal profits. Let's get into the police procedures. Police procedures involve a range of actions officers take during interactions with the public, including arrests, searches, questioning, and investigations. These procedures are governed by laws and codes of practice, ensuring a balance between police powers and public rights. Key elements include identifying themselves, informing individuals of their rights, and recording encounters. The first one are the arrests. This is the procedure. Identifying themselves. Police officers must identify themselves as police officers. Informing of arrest. You must tell people they are being arrested and explain why. Reason for arrest. You must state the reason for the arrest, the suspected crime. Right to remain silent. You must tell the suspect the right to be silent, but failure to mention something they later rely on in court may harm their defense. And finally, read the police caution. The police will typically read the suspects the police caution, informing them of the right to remain silent and the consequences of not remaining silent. The searches. Stop and search. Police can stop and search individuals if they are reasonably suspect they are carrying something prohibited, such as a weapon or prohibited drugs. The reason for search. Officers should inform the reason for the search. Search for belongings. The officer can search the suspect's belonging even if they don't agree, as the search is not voluntary. And the use of force. If suspects don't cooperate with the search, the officer can use reasonable force to carry it out. Questioning. Questioning during an arrest. The police may question suspects about the crime they are suspected of. Recording interviews. Interviews are typically tape recorded. Right to remain silent. Suspects don't have to answer the questions, but they have a right to remain silent. Police caution. The police must explain that the suspects don't have to say anything and that anything they say might be given in evidence. The investigations, we have different stages. The first is the initial accounts. The police gather information from witnesses and victims before formal interviews. Evidence collection. Police may collect evidence from crime scenes, conduct house calls, and interview suspects. Identity procedures. If the identity of a suspect is in dispute, the police may use various methods, including video identification parade electronic recording, as they call it, Viper. Injuries. If a suspect is injured, the police may want to photograph their injuries or have them examined by a doctor. And disclosure and case file quality. The police are responsible for ensuring the quality of case files and disclosing information to the public. Other procedures. For example, booking at the police station. Upon being detained, the suspect will be searched and their belongings will be taken and stored. Fingerprints and DNA. The police will typically take the suspect's fingerprints and a DNA sample, or ADN in Spanish. The custody officer authorization. A custody officer or sergeant will authorize a suspect's detention for questioning. And then we have the medical examination. If the suspect is injured, the police may want them to have their injuries examined by a doctor. These procedures are designed to ensure that the police act fairly and within the bounds of the law. What about the police patrol procedures? The police patrol procedures involve a variety of tactics and strategies used by officers to maintain order, deter crime, and respond to emergencies. These procedures include both preventive and reactive measures and can be implemented through various patrol methods, such as foot, vehicle, or bicycle patrols. We have the preventive patrol. This involves proactively maintaining a visible police presence in an area to deter potential crime. The reactive patrol. This involves responding to call for service, just responding to crime scenes or assisting with emergencies. What are the patrol strategies? These are various strategies that include A. Gut-based patrols. Officers patrol based on personal intuition and experience. Predictive policing, using data to predict crime hotspots and allocate resources accordingly. Hotspot analysis, focusing patrols on areas with high crime rates. Directed patrols, focusing on specific types of crimes or issues. We have the foot patrol. Officers walk designated areas, providing a high visibility presence and fostering community interaction. The vehicle patrol. Officers use patrol cars to respond to calls, travel efficiently, and patrol largest areas. Specialized patrols. Some departments utilize bicycles, cannons, or marine patrols depending on their needs. Interacting with citizens. Patrol officers interact with citizens to provide assistance, gather information, and build relationships. Responding to calls. Officers respond to a variety of calls, including reports of criminal activity, traffic accidents, and other emergencies. Investigating crimes. Patrol officers might be dispatched to crime scenes to collect evidence, interview witnesses, and make arrests. Enforcing laws. Officers enforce traffic laws, issue citations, and make arrests for violations of the law. Documentation and reporting. Patrol officers document their activities, complete reports, and maintain activity logs. In additional responsibilities, officers might be responsible for tasks such as checking public buildings for security, directing traffic, and rendering first aid. What are the procedures for specific situations? Let's see about the pedestrian stops. Officers may stop individuals, questioning or investigating a potential crime. Vehicle stops. Officers may stop vehicles for traffic violations, to investigate potential crimes, or for other reasons. Searching people in vehicles. Officers may search individuals or vehicles with proper justification and according to legal guidelines. Handling crimes in progress. Officers must follow specific procedures when responding to incidents that are currently unfolding. Domestic violence situations. Officers must follow specific protocols when responding to domestic violence incidents. Victims of violent crime. Officers must ensure the safety and well-being of victims of violent crime. Other incidents. Officers might be called upon to handle a variety of their incidents, such as fires, hazardous occurrences, or major disasters. By utilizing these procedures, police patrol officers contribute to the overall safety and security of their communities. The police identification procedures. Police identification procedures are methods used to determine if a witness can correctly identify a suspect from a previous encounter, usually involving a crime. These procedures aim to test the reliability of eyewitness identification and include techniques like show-ups, photo arrays, and lineups. The elaboration is, first, to show up. This involves presenting a suspect to a witness one-on-one, often shortly after a crime, to confirm or eliminate the suspect as the perpetrator. Then the photo array. This method presents a witness with a group of photographs, including the suspect and similar-looking fillers, to see if the witness can identify the subject. And then we have the lineup. This procedure involves presenting a group of individuals, including the suspect and fillers, to a witness to allow them to identify the suspect. We have also the video identification. This method uses moving images of a known suspect alongside similar individuals to test a witness's identification ability. Other methods are fingerprint comparison, comparing fingerprints found at the scene with known fingerprints in databases. DNA analysis, comparing DNA samples collected from the scene with samples from suspects. Body impression analysis, examining suspects for marks like tattoos or scars that might link them to the crime. And social media and internet, analyzing social media posts or internet activity for potential identification clues. Some important considerations. Standardized instructions. Witnesses should be given standardized instructions before viewing any identification procedure to avoid bias. Blind administration. The officer administrating the identification procedure should not know which person the suspect is to minimize unintentional cues. Witness separation. Witnesses should be kept separate to prevent them from influencing each other's responses. Sequential versus simultaneous lineups. Different approaches to presenting lineup members sequentially or simultaneously may affect identification accuracy. And documentation. All identification procedures should be thoroughly documented, including the presentation of the lineup or photo array and the witnesses' responses. The police intervention procedures involve a range of tactics, from communication and de-escalation to the use of physical force and weapons, all guided by a principle of risk assessment and the need to protect public and police safety. The preferred approach is communication and de-escalation, but other options, like physical control techniques and intermediate weapons, might be used depending on the situation. Let's see the detailed breakdown of police intervention procedures. We have the communication and de-escalation, verbal and not verbal communication. Officers are trained to remain calm, clear, and in control while communicating with individuals to build rapport and gather information. Active listening, paying attention to the individual's behavior and verbal cues to understand their perspective. Finding a resolution. Officers aim to resolve the situation through verbal means whenever possible without escalating the situation. Physical control techniques, soft techniques. These involve techniques like pressure points, empty hand strikes, and takedowns to change a subject's behavior. Hard techniques involve more forceful measures such as the use of a baton or carotid control to control a subject. Intermediate weapons. The oleoresin capsule spray, or as we call it, pepper spray, used to temporarily incapacitate a subject, providing time for officers to control the situation. The conductor energy weapon, the taser, a weapon that delivers an electrical shock to incapacitate a subject, used when a lethal force is not justified. And other intermediate weapons may include batons, firearms, and specialty weapons. Use of force. Lethal force, used only when an officer has a reasonable belief that an individual poses an immediate threat or death or seriously bodily harm to themselves or others. Non-lethal force includes a range of techniques and weapons designed to incapacitate or control a subject without chasing serious injury. Incident Management and Intervention Model, IMIM. Training. The IMIM is a framework used to guide officers through the process of managing and intervening in incidents, including risk assessment and the use of force. Continuous risk assessment. Officers are trained to continuously assess the risks involved in a situation and adjust their response accordingly. In legal articulation, officers are trained to clearly explain their actions and decisions during an intervention to ensure accountability. Subject behavior or officer response, SBOR reporting. Reporting. Officers must complete an SBOR report after any intervention to document the incident, including the subject's behavior, the officer's response, and any injuries. The data analysis, SBOR reports are analyzed to identify trends, develop training programs, and improve police intervention procedures. The police detention procedures involve the lawful restriction of a person's freedom, typically when suspected of a crime, to allow for investigation and potentially charge or release them. These procedures are governed by laws and regulations to ensure they are conducted fairly and lawfully. What are the key aspects of police detention procedures? First of all, the legal basis. The detention must be based on a lawful basis, such as a warrant, reasonable suspicion of a crime, or other legal authority. The right explanation. A person detained must be informed of their rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to legal advice, and the right to have someone informed of their detention. Prompt notification. The detained person must be informed of the reason for their arrest and the specific crime they are suspected of. The custody procedures. Once at the police station, the detainee will be processed, including being searched, having their belongings secured, and being placed in a holding cell. Questioning and interview. Police may interview the detained person, and these interviews are typically recorded. Biometric data. Fingerprints and DNA samples might be taken for identification and investigation purposes. Review of detention. A custody officer or sergeant will authorize the detention for the purpose of questioning. Time limits. There are limits on how long a person can be held in police custody without being charged or released, which vary depending on the severity of the suspected crime. Review of detention. A judicial or other authority will review the detention to determine its lawfulness necessity. Treatment and welfare. Detainees have the right to be treated with dignity and respect, and the police must ensure their welfare and safety while in custody. And right to counsel. Detainees have the right to consult with a lawyer, and the police must facilitate this right. Finally, the welfare and safety. The police must ensure the welfare and safety of detainees, including providing adequate lighting, ventilation, and a place to rest. Important considerations you need to take into account. Legality. All detention procedures must be lawful and comply with relevant laws and regulations. Proportionality. Detention should be proportionate to the nature of the suspected crime and the risk posed by the individual. Human rights. The detention must respect the detainee's human rights, including the right to be treated with dignity and respect. Finally, here you can see the most common traffic signs that we have in English. We have them in Spanish, but these are the most common ones. For example, the no U-turn, turn right or turn left, depending right where the sign is, wild animals on the road, no parking, falling rocks, roadwork, roundabout, slippery road, no turning left or no turning right, a school crossing, no entry, no overtaking, a speed limit that can be in kilometers or in miles, no waiting, and lorries only. So thank you very much for paying attention. I hope you have a great day.